Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out why does America feel so bonkers? Caffeine is a hell of a drug.
This month marks my 16th year living in the United States.
Wow.
In just that span of time, I've seen considerable change, from major political upheaval to the nationwide acceptance of social media and briefly fidget spinners. In fact, often most evident on social media is the fact that America, the land of opportunity, is also the land of extremes. Extreme beliefs, extreme accomplishments, extreme weather, extreme wealth, extreme poverty, extreme wildlife, extreme fame, extreme terrain, extremists, and extreme mists. In other words, during my long...
Yeah, okay. Extreme mist. Yeah. Be sure to go to Lost on the Pond and like and subscribe also. Yep.
And extreme mists. In other words, during my long-held fascination with the United States, it has always struck me as a country with an eye for the dramatic. As you may have guessed from that brief list just now, this is not always a criticism. In fact, as an 8-year-old boy who dreamed of becoming a Goonie, I believed that drama suited America just fine. I also thought America might suit me just fine, especially given my A-level in theatre studies. But after moving to the United States, I quickly learned that not all of America's dramatic qualities lie in the coastal town of Astoria. It was quite literally in the air. During that first December,
Astoria, I think, is where the Goonies took place. Oregon, right?
Town of Astoria. It was quite literally in the air. During that first December, my nostril hairs froze in the wake of winter. It was unlike any cold I'd ever experienced. Soon after, I invested in a face mask and a nasal trimmer. I imagined it couldn't get any colder, and then, in January 2019, it did. A polar vortex reducing the Chicago winter chill to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's that. Anyway, time to go and check on that water, I think. There we go. What's that in Celsius, Lawrence? Easy. Minus 45 degrees, or 18 degrees colder than the coldest temperature ever recorded in Britain.
Really? Wait. Did he say minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit? Not 15, but 50? Hang on, I gotta rewind it. Sorry about that. Minus 50. Holy crap.
Degrees Fahrenheit. So that's that. Anyway, time to go and check on... Minus 45 degrees, or 18 degrees colder than the coldest temperature ever recorded in Britain.
You know, the Brits have Scotland up there. And what are those little islands above Scotland? I don't remember what they're called, but that's gotta get cold as hell. Or, you know what I mean. Dang, but Chicago was colder. That's wild. I guess it makes sense because the jet stream, the way it goes, or if we're looking this way, it goes like that, and it pulls the warm air from like the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. That's part of the Bonkers thing too, right? He hasn't even touched on our current leadership. But anyway, yeah, that warm air goes from the Gulf of America over Florida, north in the Atlantic, and then hits Britain, so it kind of warms it up. Britain is warmed up by Florida farts. That gives me comfort. You're breathing our farts.
On top of that, last year I experienced a thunderstorm, a giant hailstorm, and a tornado warning, all in the space of about 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Probably go and find out. These things...
That's when those things happen, right? They all happen at the same time. A thunderstorm, a giant hailstorm, and a tornado warning. That's how it works.
All in the space of about 4 minutes. Probably go and find out. These things don't happen in the UK. So the question is, can the characteristics of a nation be influenced by something as simple as the weather? In some ways, I would say yes. But America's propensity for being a little extra surely isn't the result of one thing, but a perfect storm of many things. When a country has almost 350 million people, it's inevitable that disagreements will arise.
Okay, that's interesting. So I think he's insinuating that some of what makes the United States so extreme is the weather, because people got to deal with it. People got to deal with this crazy weather. Y'all, it's getting crazier, I think. I grew up in Florida having to deal with hurricanes, flooding, extreme heat. I think just this past weekend there were a bunch of tornadoes ripped through the Midwest, right? And then we had the LA fires. It's getting crazier. It's getting crazier.
And I can't help but feel that this is particularly true in a country where the two most popular news networks are known for their bias to opposing ideologies. Thankfully for me, no such memo is lost in the pond thanks to today's sponsor, Ground News. But back to the polarization of America. If there's one thing that Americans can agree on, it's that Americans can no longer agree on anything. We are at odds with one another over some very weird things. Just the other day, I heard somebody online arguing against the existence of Finland. And this is not just a slam against US education. Goodness knows it gets enough of that. It's an observation that in a country in which you are free to believe whatever you want, people very often will. And while certain American networks thrive on telling viewers what to think, social media seems to reinforce what users already believe. Indeed, I moved here at the dawn of the social media age, as platforms became increasingly...
Sorry, this is a photo.
Indeed, I moved here at the dawn of the social media age. As platforms became increasingly powered by algorithms, we Americans, like most of the world, came to devour what merely confirmed our bias. And in a country whose First Amendment lends itself strongly to difference of opinion, social media achieves something the printing press never could, keeping the nation polarized on a minute-by-minute basis. I can't help but feel that this is powered in part by the absolute monetization of everything everywhere all the time. When people, including myself, are rewarded for high engagement, boundaries will be pushed to the limit in order to eke out those extra dollars. So why not shovel out a good old Finland isn't real post if it results in 20,000 comments? Heck, you could even argue that this very video, when compared to other Lost in the Pond content, is on the extreme side. So perhaps money is the deciding factor in all of this.
It's getting dark. I think that background music isn't helping. It makes me feel afraid, Lawrence. Yeah, it's crazy that the social media algorithms put stuff in front of us that makes us angry, because that's what we click on. It's like an impulsive thing. No. That's why I'm only on Instagram, and all I do is post photos occasionally. Maybe follow me on Instagram if you want to see occasional photos of things I take photos of. How old is this video? It's 4 months old. So this was probably made in early January. So much has happened since then. These tariffs, y'all. I'm afraid to say the name because people are trying to come into the United States and they're having their phones searched for anything negative about you-know-who. And if there is something negative, they're not allowed in. That's scary. I'm afraid to say anything negative, honestly, about homeboy. I'm afraid to talk about this too much, which is a weird thing to say. I didn't think we'd ever be in this spot, you know? Scary.
The extreme side. So perhaps money is the deciding factor in all of this. After all, the United States has greater wealth inequality than virtually all of the developed world. Indeed, 8 of the world's top 10 richest people are based in the US, and no, I'm not yet one of them. On the flip side, America's wealth has led to, transformative technological advancement, cinematic entertainment, or, crucially, success at the Olympics. Furthermore, few people realize that the United States is routinely ranked among the most charitable nations on Earth. And so yes, since I moved here, American extremity has done anything but return to the wilderness.
Yeah, okay. We may have been the most charitable in the world before January 2025, but we cut all that shit off. Good luck. Good luck, Ethiopia. Good luck with your food issues. Right? What the hell? Okay, this is making me sad.
So yes, since I moved here, American extremity has done anything but return to the wilderness. Much like the actual wilderness. Do you know what you don't have to worry about in England? Animals that will eat you for breakfast. From memory, the only close call I had was that one time a cow ushered me out of Aunt Deborah's barn.
Hey, that cow has a horn. At least one, maybe two. That could stick you. He could puncture your spleen. Or she could. Look at that. Vagina bag.
The only close call I had was that one time a cow ushered me out of Aunt Deborah's barn. America, on the other hand, has so many deadly species that the suspense films write themselves. Afraid of alligator swamps? Fine. Go live with the rattlesnakes instead. Yeah. Not your cup of tea? And then why not run off into the woods while smeared in honey? Or reach under the toilet seat in your parents' basement? And I know what you're thinking. Right. Ooh, Lawrence, these animals are rarely fatal to humans. To which I say, you're right. In fact, perhaps the most extreme thing about such creatures is our irrational fear of them, despite...
Rarely. But Sometimes.
Despite what you may have learned from the documentary Jaws, only one American on average dies from a shark attack each year.
That's too much. That's way too much.
Fewer die still from black widow bites. The last such recorded fatality in America occurred the same year Thriller came out. So that leads me to another question.
1983?
Have we got it wrong? Is America not quite as extreme as it seems? Well, as somebody who's actively abstained from social media in recent months, I am reminded that there might be some validity to this argument. Amid all of the Florida man stories, it's easy to forget that America is filled with people who are just getting on.
Hey, yeah, most of us are normal people. I am a Florida man, technically, though. I'm from Florida.
Once you remove the veil of anonymity afforded by the internet, offline Americans are sometimes even kind, perhaps reluctant to bring up politics, money, or Finland. Because at the end of the day, we're all passengers on the same planet, hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. And if you think about it could be more extreme than that. So, America's genuine problems notwithstanding, I do think the US sometimes feels more extreme than it is because that makes for fantastic ratings. Then again...
Oh, I used to work in this building right here. On the left, but they tore it down and built another building, so that's not even the building. Sorry to stop it for that random trivia.
The US sometimes feels more extreme than it is because that makes for fantastic ratings. Then again, those same passengers are also descended from other passengers, ones who came to North America at various points in history. The continent's extremely remote location, flanked either side by two vast oceans, is significant. It meant that early settlers to the New World faced hardship before they even got here. Heck, the Mayflower took a grueling 66 days to reach North America, often facing rough seas that could have left it lost in the pond. That was an intentional brand reference for those at the back. Indeed, once they arrived, about half died before the end of winter, unprepared for the very cold that would stiffen my nostril hairs 400 years later. Nonetheless, those that survived persisted, just as others who came here persisted. For me, this same grit is what put men on the moon, men who would bring back grit from the moon. It's a funny old world. And whether you believe the moon landing was real or you believe it was faked by Stanley Kubrick in a film studio, you have to admit that either sounds completely insane, like, we went to the moon? What? All I'm saying is, I think extremeness, whether good, bad, or indifferent, might be woven into the fabric of American society. And
I believe that. Absolutely. It is a perfect storm, like he was saying. We're dealing with this crazy weather, all these wild animal predators, and then our ancestors were like, we're doing it, we're going. We're going. Brush your teeth, get on the boat. We're going. We're going to be on this ship for 3 months. You might die. We're going. We're going to live in the woods. Let's go. Like, wow.
And it began 400 years ago, actually, more like millions. Because this is a country of enormous, one might even say extreme, natural wonder. Here, you'll find some of the world's largest rivers, lakes, and rock facades that were somehow formed with the heads of US presidents. It truly is amazing. So put down your phones and your computers and go out and see America. But not before sharing this video and feeding the algorithm. Until the next video, goodbye. This month.
Interesting. I thought this would be more of a comparison between the United States and Britain, so I apologize for that. I like his videos, but a lot of them are American-centric, but I thought this would include Britain more than it did. So maybe this isn't a good video to react to, but things do feel bonkers to me, and that's what resonated. The title resonated with me at this very moment. Things are bonkers. I can't believe what's-his-name won the election. I can't believe what's-his-name is charging tariffs. Tariffs are taxes, y'all. Tariffs are taxes. We all know this, but he doesn't. Things are scary. People are getting deported. People are getting wrongly deported. And then whenever they realize they're wrongly deported, they say, oh, sorry. Nothing we can do now. They're deported forever. Bye. What the hell? What the hell? Be sure to go to Lost on the Pond and like and subscribe also. Yep. Anyway, help the algorithm. Help me with this algorithm. Like and subscribe if you liked it. I love what Lawrence said, though, about us all being passengers on the same planet, y'all. We're all the same. Yeah, America went to the moon, but hey, so did Britain. You're human beings. Human beings went to the moon. I include you in that, right? We all did it. We all did it. Anyway, I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me. Thank you, Lawrence, for making this video. And I'll see you next time. Later.